Hey there everyone, welcome back to GameVine, and my name is Dave, and just like I said in prior videos, we're going to be doing as many Dice Masters reviews until we catch up as we can. And today we have on the docket the World's Finest. Now, the next one in chronological order I think is the second D&D set. I don't have the starter. I'm going to get that as soon as I can and get that review out. And the one after that was the TMNT, but we have that on the channel already, so you can check out that review. Today we are focusing on the third DC set. Now this came out during the time of Batman vs. Superman movie, so this is all about the World's Finest comic book line though. It's not necessarily Batman vs. Superman, but if you like these two characters, you get a buku of both of them, and the villains of each, the counterparts of Superman and Batman, and you get a lot of their support group as well. And I'm not going to be showing you how to play Dice Masters in this video. I have a tutorial on the channel if you want to find out how to play. Today we're just going to find out what the World's Finest is bringing to the docket. Of course, Superman and Batman being the primary. I like Batman quite a bit. Superman, take or leave, but there are a lot in here. And they bring a few new abilities to the world of Dice Masters as well. So without further ado, let's check out those dice and see what kind of characters they actually bring in. Let's go. Alright, so here are the dice for the World's Finest. I have a decent amount of this set, not a lot, and I'm going to say I don't have any super rares now, but I will show some on the video later. The color is kind of muted, and that's what I would expect from a Batman set. I thought I would see more of the red and blue with Superman. It does appear, but this is, like, at first glance you would say, yes, this is a Batman set. But some of my favorite dice, I'm going to point out specifically, the Nightwing dice is really cool. I actually like the Superman dice this time around. It's kind of marbled, very neat. I love the Penguin dice. It's a cool one. Power Girl dice, very crisp. I like the white dice with decent color on them. And I just picked out the Bizarro one because I forgot that this one is probably my favorite in the set. Nice purple, marbled, yellow, very cool. Alright, so those are the dice. Now let's get into the basic cards. Alright, before I show you the basic action cards, this is what you get in the starting set of the World's Finest. All the heroes, all the basic action dice, and these bags that they're keeping with the pattern of the art. I'm really impressed with these. I'm keeping the bags now because I'm kind of a collector, and it makes me feel like I have a complete set. So that is really neat. I like those. Look at Doomsday there. Alright, so now let's go over some of the basic action cards, not all of them. The first one I have here is End of Days. This is a really big, costly one, but it has an interesting ability. Each player chooses one of their active character dice and KOs the rest. And that's going to be important to this set because there are some very resilient characters that come and debut. Alright, so the other one here is Dark Avenger. Deal 1 damage to target player character dice. If you have an active Batman character, instead do 2 damage. Pinging in this set, like I said before, they bring in some new things, and you'll see why, is going to be very important. That's why I point this one out. Call to action, like the old art there. Target non-sidekick dice just gets plus 3 attack. Pretty cool. And to the rescue, you may field a from your reserve pool a character dice for free. I like being able to do that because sometimes you just don't have the energy. Why not use your basic action cards to do so? And the next one and the last one I think I'm going to go over is the Kryptonite threat. Now they're bringing Kryptonite into it. Finally, target character dice cannot be blocked until the end of turn. Asterisks. Also draw dice from your bag and add it to the prep area. Again, if you watch my videos, I like drawing dice. I'm going to go over the art of the other ones here, but I'm not going to actually go over them. Some of them give Batman and Superman affiliations, and of course that's what they do with the sets because that's kind of the synergy. Alright, so these are basically the basic action cards in a nutshell. Now let's go over the characters. So what I like to do before I get into the characters is show off the equipment cards. Normally there are 2 or sometimes more. The first one here is the Batcave. I showed this one off because it has continuous on it. They have dabbled a bit with the continuous on abilities, but now they really rein in and have it in bold. This one here is when one of your character dice is KO'd, you may instead place it under the Batcave. During the main step, you may send the Batcave to a use pile and return all the dice that are under it at level 1. That is pretty neat. So you can have basically a res kind of strategy. So the next one here is Kryptonite. So yes, it's finally in the game, and it's really going to target Superman, but it also targets everyone else. It's kind of thematic with Superman, but not so much with everyone else, but whatever. This one here is all character dice get -2 attack till the end of turn. Also, Superman, if you have the asterisk, he becomes 0 on his attack. So it's pretty cheap. I see this one being used quite a bit in this set. Alright, so let's go over the Superman characters first. The first one I have here is, of course, Lois Lane. She is an ally. They really kind of redefined ally. They are a sidekick, and sometimes they're not going to be a sidekick in the bag. You're just going to have to really read into it. I'm not going to get into it too much, but she is an ally while Lois Lane is active. Other Superman characters get +1 attack. She's buffing them up. She's a 2/2. Not too strong, but what are you going to do? So the next one we have here is Clark Kent. So we have the man without the costume. But when Clark Kent dies, the die is KO'd by combat damage. You may field a Superman dice from your use pile or your prep area at level 2 for free. So basically, Clark Kent is turning into Superman. That's pretty cool. I like the theme on that. So now let's get into some of the characters that are actually super. Crypto, he makes an appearance. I like his die. He is a 4/4, and he has an ability that shows up here, and it's fast. Now, they have, of course, did something like this on a specific dice, but now it gets its own bold ability, and this just means it does its damage before the opponent. So if it were to KO it, it wouldn't take any damage and would stay on the field. I like fast. Pretty cool. You can have fast and overcrush. That would be fantastic. So that's basically what that dice and that card does. Power Girl comes into play. I really like Power Girl, the character. She's pretty cool. While you have an active Superman character beside Power Girl, the Power Girl is active. Draw an extra dice during the clear and draw step. Again, I love drawing. So she's pretty expensive, but she's a 6/6, and drawing, I think, is worth it. Alright, so I really like Steel. He's been one of my favorite Superman characters. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but Steel, I've always been drawn to. I don't know what it is. But he has Iron Will, so this is a new ability that comes in here. Now, like I said, with the basic action cards, they ping and or they KO characters. With Iron Will, you have to hit a character. They have to take damage in order to die. So you have to hit them twice and be able to knock them out. So that's really resilient, and I think that's going to be kind of an ability that's going to be hard to work around if your deck is not set up for it. So I think that's pretty cool, and it's thematic in the way of Superman characters, I would say. Alright, so Supergirl shows up here. She has Iron Will, and Supergirl dice cannot be targeted by action dice. So even if you have an action dice set up, if you have Supergirl here, she's going to be even harder to take out. So you're going to have to figure something out. She's a 7/8 too, pretty strong. Steel is a 5/4, but still, both characters hard to take out. So we have Superman coming back into play again, and he has Iron Will and Overcrush on this card. And he also has a global ability, prevent 3 damage to target character dice unless an opponent pays 1 life. So again, working around that Iron Will. So those are all the Superman characters that I have. There's one here, Kal-El, so I'm showing him right now. I don't know what he does, but that's one that I know I don't have. And again, like I said, I don't have any ultra rares, but I have a decent amount of cards to show you a good chunk of the set. So with that being said, let's go to the Batman characters. Alright, so we're going to start off with Bruce Wayne here. He does the same thing as Clark Kent on his other card, brings out Batman, but on this one here, while Bruce Wayne is active, when one of your character dice is KO'd, you may move a Batman die from your bag or use pile to the field at level 2 and do 2 damage to a character, which is pretty nice. And he's a 5/4 on his final level, so not too shabby, Bruce. Pretty cool card. Alright, so Commissioner Gordon comes into play. He has Vengeance, so I'm pointing this one out here. Now this, just like with the Iron Will Superman characters, this is specific to the Batman characters. It normally triggers when the character either does something like damages you or your character dies. Your character dies. When you take damage, spin all of your Commissioner Gordon and Batman dice on the field up 1 level, and he has a global deal 1 damage to each player. So he can take out those Iron Will by doing that, and he can make his Batman and Commissioner Gordon dice even stronger. I like his little dice with his glasses and mustache. 4/4 on his final level, not too shabby. Alright, so Harvey Bullock is his partner, of course, comes into play, and he has a donut on his dice, 4/2 on his final level, not too shabby. But I like this card because he allows you to draw more dice. When he's active, you pick a number before the the roll step, and if you roll that many energy, you get to draw dice and re-roll it with the re-roll step. Really cool. Draw dice for me, Harvey. I appreciate it. Oracle comes into play. While Oracle is active, your opponent pays 1 more to field each character dice other than sidekicks. So it just makes it more expensive. This set is not too keen on sidekicks. Catwoman cannot be blocked by sidekicks. She's a 3/3, not too shabby, and pretty easy to bring out as well. And then we have Batgirl as well. She has exactly 1 Batgirl dice in the field zone. Batgirl is unblockable, so she's a little bit stronger than Catwoman, but a little more expensive as well. So Alfred, he is the ally just like Lois Lane. When fielded, give your target Batman characters and other target sidekicks +2 defense till the end of the turn. He's just a 2/2, but it's cool to have him in here, Mr. Pennyworth. So Batman himself, here he is. He has Vengeance as well. When you take damage, deal 4 damage to a target villain or Superman character dice. So it's kind of battling against Superman a bit. And again, this is to help with the Iron Will. Global punch and pay a punch, KO target a villain or Superman character dice unless the opponent pays 2 life. So that is a good one to have if you're set up for a night just to play against this set, and you guys want to play World's Finest, and he's going to be Superman or villains. You want this Batman in the set. Alright, so Robin, I have 1 of him. I really like his dice, very crisp and vibrant. He works best with Batman. While Batman is active, each Robin dice gets +3 attack and 3 defense. I like the Nightwing. He's pretty cool. Like I said, his dice is neat. When Nightwing attacks, deal 1 damage to target character dice for each of your different mass characters. Again, getting through that Iron Will. And the last Batman character I have here is Dick Grayson as Batman. I like the thin look of Batman when he was. When Batman character dies is KO, you may purchase a die for 3 energy and add it to your prep area. So no matter what it is, if you have like an 8, I don't know if that's even possible, you can purchase it for 3. I would always pack him if I was playing a Batman deck. So those are all the good guy characters. Let's go into the villains and check out what they have in store. Alright, so Mr. Falcone, he, when fielded, if you have fewer sidekicks in the field, then your target opponent deal 2 damage to your opponent, again, against that Iron Will. Mr. Megaplex, when fielded, all character dice in the field zone are treated as if they had 1 attack and 1 defense. This could be a game changer. He's pretty weak, but again, that's a really nice ability. Let's go into the Batman villains here. So Poison Ivy, target when fielded, KO target sidekicks. Again, this set just has kind of a vendetta against sidekicks. Mr. Freeze, when fielded, send a target character dice out of play until the end of turn. Return them to the field zone at the end of turn at the same level. So he's just freezing them basically. That can buy you a turn if you need it. Alright, so Two-Face, when Two-Face attacks, he can only be blocked by 2 or more character dice. Yeah, why not? That's pretty cool. The Penguin, I like this card here. While the Penguin is active, when a non-villain character dice is fielded, the penguin does 1 damage to the player that fielded. So that's, again, if a Superman comes into play, you can kind of get it out because it took 1 damage. Alright, so Bane, he comes into play because, of course, Poison Ivy is in the set. When Bane KOs an opposing character dice, spin your Bane up 1 level. Yeah, he's powering up, getting juiced up. Target character dice must attack if you pay a punch. So that could be something that you get around the Iron Will with. Now the Riddler comes into play. I really like his dice. I forgot about his, but that's a cool one. When the Riddler is active, before your opponent clear and draw step, name a non-psychic dice. For each of those dice drawn, the Riddler deals your opponent 1 damage. So he can ping people, and if you know what's in the opponent's bag, you better be paying attention. If you're playing Riddler, you can do some damage. The Joker comes into play. Yeah, it's a decent little dice. When the Joker attacks, draw a dice. If it is a basic action dice, you may use its effect if you had rolled it. Such a long one. If drawn dice is in the basic action dice, add it to your use pile. So you're drawing stuff, and you might be able to use an action dice. That might be good for you. And then we have Scarecrow. When fielded, take control of all opposing sidekicks in the field zone. You can basically clear the sidekicks by hitting the opponent's characters if you want, but then they go back to them at the end of the turn. But that's pretty cool. Again, kind of a vendetta against sidekicks. Those are all the Batman villains I have. Let's go over the Superman villains. Alright, so the first one I have here is the evil Superwoman from the Elseworld, the evil world. You may pay 3 Bolt energies rather than Superwoman's printed purchase cost. She has a global pay 1. You may convert any amounts to that. So she can be pretty cheap. I mean, she's a 7/4, 3 to bring out to the field, but a strong character nonetheless. And her partner in crime, Ultraman. He's got a pretty cool dice. When a player uses the Kryptonite action dice, Ultraman gets +4 attack and defense. This ability resolves after the Kryptonite effect. And Bizarro, he's pretty cool. I like his backward X. He has Overcrush. I love that. Oh, Ultraman is a 6/6. Superwoman is a bit stronger in attack. What are you going to do about that? Okay, so Overcrush on Bizarro. Bizarro gets +2 attack and defense for each character card with the global ability on your opponent has on their team. So if they have a lot of global abilities, he could be so strong, and he could hit anything and still do a ton of damage. A lot to bring out, but I like Bizarro. So Brainiac comes into play. While Brainiac is active, you may declare at least 1 attacker. Target opponent character dice must block that dice of your choice. So he's taking control of their mind, and they are his puppet. So Lex Luthor comes into play. He's going to make things a little more expensive. When fielded, name an energy type, and that is going to cost 1 more for your opponent to play if you name like a shield character or whatnot. Alright, so General Zod, he comes into play. He has fast. When you use a non-basic action dice, General Zod gets +1 attack and fast until the end of the turn. He's a 7/7, so that could take out some pretty good stuff. Alright, the last villain I have here is Doomsday. He cannot attack or block unless you have at least 2 different active villains, and that might seem pretty rough, but he is a 7/7 and a 4 cost. I like that. So those are all the cards I have. These are the super rares that come in the set. They decided to do Black Lanterns, and I think, I know I get it because they are continuing to do Marvel Zombies over sets, and I'm not complaining too much because I'm a big Green Lantern fan. But I think they should have done something different, like Elseworld Batman and Elseworld Superman, and that would have been kind of cool, like the Soviet ones. That would have been different, but they decided to do more of the Black Lantern. So those are those cards. I don't have them, and I don't know what they do. The Martian Manhunter one I know is pretty cool. So that is the whole set in a nutshell. Let's give this game a grade, and then I'll tell you what I think. Let's go. So the world's finest. I'm going to be giving this one a grade of 94%, which is a strong A. I'm going to be grading almost every Dice Masters within the 90% range. It's really the 1 or 2 points that is the deciding factor. This is lower than the War of Light and the DC, the first Justice League set that came out, but I do think that it is a strong set. Not my favorite of the 3 to come out, but one that I want to have. There are things in here that I would say are a bit more advanced. It's not crazy complicated, but I wouldn't start somebody on this set. This would be a good step 2 because it doesn't add a lot of abilities into the set. It does bring over a few from the past, but the Iron Will is kind of a strategic way to take people out. Though the Batman and villain characters are set up to do so, it does take some critical thinking to say, okay, well, I have to damage him and then take him out. So I think that is a bit of an advanced ability, but not something crazy complicated. But I would have this as a step 2. Some of the shining lights from this set are some of the Iron Will, because I think that is, you can integrate that into any type of deck and have a few resilient, hard to take out characters, and then build your deck around that with other sets if you want to. And I think a lot of the characters that they drew from, there weren't a lot of repeats, so I like to see even more come out, and I don't like to see repeats, and they did a good job there. Some of the low points on this one, I would say the basic action cards are very specific to this set. So they aren't, I like my basic action cards to draw for me, and they didn't have that in this set, though they did have some interesting ones. And another low point, I think there aren't many to do with that. Again, like I said, I wish they would have did something more elaborate with the super rares, but all in all, I think this set is a winner. If you're a Batman fan or a Superman fan, this is something that you're going to want to get. And if you're a Dice Masters fan, I think it's still something you want to pick up as well, because there are some pretty cool characters and abilities like Fast as well, and more continuous cards that come into play that are really going to add to your current library. So that is it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope it was informational and let you know if this set is for you. I do want to send out a huge thank you to WizKids for your continuing support. It helps us get these reviews out, and it only makes me giddy when I see a box arrive at my doorstep from you. And if you are a new viewer and you like what you see, well, click like and subscribe, because that's only going to help us grow and do even more of these reviews. Thank you so much for doing so, and if you are a repeat watcher, you know what I say, you are our lifeblood. You keep us going, you keep us happy, and you keep us on the ball so we can continue to, again, do even more reviews. So, until the next time that I see ya, I've been Dave, and have a great rest of your day, and a great time with all the Dice Masters that you play. You heard it here on the Game Find. I'm out, everybody. Bye.